Hello, Pre-Algebra. Today our lesson is on 4.4 proportions and how to solve them. So we will be using those ratios and rates we've been working on to get started. So today, a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are, in fact, equal. To determine whether a pair of ratios forms a proportion, check their cross products. And products, hopefully remember from our vocab from last unit, products means multiply. So that means that if A divided by B, one ratio or rate, equals C divided by D, another ratio or rate, if these things are equal, then really when I cross product or cross multiply, we're saying that A times D equals B times C. And remember, with multiplication, we could rearrange those. We could say D times A equals C times B, and so on. We could flip those. As long as we're saying that the crosses, the top of one multiplied by the bottom of the other, is equal to the top of the other multiplied by the bottom of the other. So we need to determine whether these pairs of ratios form a proportion. So for number one, we want to check, so we are saying that the first ratio, 5/6, equals 20/24. So we want to know, is that true? So we take the cross product, 5 times 24. And we set it equal to 6 times 20, the other cross product. And we want to see, is that a true statement? Well, 5 times 24 is 120. And we're saying that is going to be equal to 6 times 20, which is also 120. If these things are equal, 120 is the same thing as 120, then yes, we have a proportion. So notice, I write the proportion first. You always have to write the proportion. What are you setting equal to what? This next step is showing what am I multiplying. 5 times 24, 6 times 20, and setting those equal. Then we're showing our last step, what are those numbers? Are they equal? Writing yes or no to decide. So here goes another. Number 2. 2/3 is our first ratio, and it's going to be equal to 8/15. So I take the cross product, 2 times 15. And we're saying that equals 3 times 8. Yes, you do need to write this step. What are we multiplying? Well, 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 8, 8, 16, 24. Is 30 and 24, are those the same thing? No, these are not equal. So no, these are not a proportion. They do not form a proportion. So again, we're going to keep going, checking this process. We're going to do the odds from here on out. So I want you to get started. Right, we've got 9/7 to start on number 3. And it's going to be equal to 54/42. We want to see, is that a true statement? Cross product, 9 times 42. That's our first cross, is going to equal 7 times 54. And we want to see, is that a true statement? Well, 9 times 42 is 378. And we're saying, is that equal to 7 times 54? Which is also 378. They are, in fact, the same? Yes. We have a proportion. Okay, on to another slide. So again, the odds. 15/20. So notice, these fractions are not always simplified. So 15/20 could actually be simplified. That is okay. If we can simplify it, you could do that. We could do that step, or we can just take the cross product. If we simplify it, we'll still get the same answer in the end, a yes or no. It will just make our numbers smaller, maybe easier to use. But we don't have to. That's the good news. So if we take our first cross product, top to the bottom right, 15 times 56, we're saying, is that equal to 20 times 42? 15 times 56, so that's going to be a big one. You're going to want a calculator. 840 We're saying, is that equal to 20 times 42? Yes, it's also 840. Yes, we have a proportion. Okay, last one. Typically, we don't use this a whole lot because we don't like decimals within fractions. Real life, that is okay. Decimals are real numbers. We just need to make sure that we're not rounding. So when we're saying that these are the same, these numbers have to be exactly the same. So our proportion is going to be that first one, 0.5 over 18. And we're saying it's going to be equal to 1.5 over 40. Or at least we hope if it's a proportion. So really, first cross product, 0.5 times, so I'm going to use an X for my times this time so we don't get confused, 40. We're saying that should be equal to 18 times 1.5. Oops, I forgot to use my X. There we go. Well, 0.5 or half of 40 is 20. And 18 times 1.5 is 27. Well, nope, 20 and 27 are not the same. Nope, not a proportion. If you'd like to see more examples of are they proportions or not, the evens will also be posted on Canvas with the completed notes, so you can check that as well. Okay, so on to actually solving these proportions. So we just practiced. We can use the cross product to check our proportions. Are the ratios they give us proportions? We can also solve proportions by using the cross product. So notice, when we're solving, we have to have a variable, something we want to solve for. We want to know what is x, what is k, what is w, what is a. So again, we're going to do the odds. We're going to do the same thing. They already give us 16 over 12 is equal to x over 3. So we're going to take the cross product. Well, this says that 16 times 3 equals 12 times x. So we want to solve for x. Here's our equal sign. We want to get x by itself. X is being multiplied by 12. So you got it? Do the opposite. Divide 12. And really, before we would divide, we need to know, well, what is 16 times 3? We probably should have simplified first, but it's okay. 16 times 3 is 48, and we still have it over 12 equals x. So last step, simplify. What is that fraction? 48 divided by 12. It actually equals 4. X equals 4, or 4 equals x. So solving, we do the same thing, cross product, but we want to get our variable by itself. Doesn't matter where that variable is. Okay, here we go, number 11. So our first cross product, 26 times 6 is going to equal w times 5. So in this case, our variable happens to be on the left side. I'm sorry, on the right. That's okay. And honestly, it doesn't matter. If we would have done w times 5 first and put that on the left side, and then done our 26 times 6, we're still solving for the same variable, same process. So we want to get w by itself. But first, we need to simplify. Well, what is 26 times 6? It is 156. Equals, well, this is really w5 or 5w. They're next to each other. They're being multiplied, so get w by itself. Divide, because we want to move the 5 across that line. So they cancel. So really we have 156 divided by 5. And we get, you got it, a decimal, 31.2. So w equals 31.2. So notice, we do not want to round. In this case, it came out a pretty decimal, but if we needed to, if it was going to be a long decimal, go ahead and write it as a fraction. If it's a whole number, just leave it how it is. But make sure we're writing what our variable equals. W equals 31.2, not just 31.2. Okay, here goes some more practice. 13. N is what we're solving for, and we do a cross product. So n times 30 equals 6 times 9. Is there other one? I'm sorry, 6 times 19. So here we go. 6 times 19 is 114, which equals 30n, or n times 30. I just like to write the number in front of the variable because it looks like a coefficient now. But either way, n is being multiplied. So to get n by itself, divide that 30. So last step, n is going to equal 114 divided by 30, which you got it, is 3.8. N equals 3.8. Okay, keep going. 15. 20 times p is our first diagonal cross product. The other side, 32.5 times 8. Okay, well, 32.5 times 8, let's simplify. 260 equals that 20 times p. Here's our line, there's our equal sign. To get p by itself, divide by 20. So p equals 260 divided by 20, which is 13. P equals 13. Okay, last one. 17. Well, this time we don't just have x by itself. We have 4x times 15. And our other cross product is going to be equals 5 times 84. So there's not just x, that's okay. Those numbers are on the same side of the equal sign. So let's multiply. 4 times 15 is 60x. And on the other side, 5 times 84 is 420. So to get x by itself, divide that 60 to both sides. Make sure you're showing your work on this. Well, 420 divided by 60 is 7. X equals 7. Okay, so that is the hard part of the lesson. Even if there's more than x, go ahead and multiply that coefficient, that 4, times the other cross product. Multiplication is all it means. Simplify on that side first. So here's a couple of challenge problems. I'm going to get you started, and you'll have to check the full completed notes for the answers, but we're just going to do the odds. So here we go, 19. These are challenges. So we have more than just x, but this time it's like x minus 2, or r minus 1, and r plus 6. So I just want to think about it. We're still solving, we're using the cross products. So 2 times 12 is our first diagonal. And the other one from bottom to top is 3, but this time it's not just x, it's x minus 2. So if 3 is being multiplied by both of those things, we really need those things in parentheses. Well, now if 3 is next to parentheses, you got it. It means distribute. So really on the right side we have 3x, because 3 times x, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, equals, well, 2 times 12 is 24. So to get x by itself, here's our line. We want to get x, we want to move everything else. We take care of the negative 6 first. So we add 6, do the opposite to move it across. And we get 30 equals 3x. So to get x by itself, divide 3 to both sides. And x equals 10, or 10 equals x. Okay, last one. This time we've got two different things. We've got two different r's. That's okay. We've got two proportions, two fractions equal. So when we do our cross product, well, it says r minus 1. So since it's more than r, I'm going to put it in parentheses. It's being multiplied by 10. And that's going to equal 5 times not just r, but r plus 6. So we need to distribute. So on the right side, it's very clear to see that distribution next to parentheses. 5r plus 6 times 5, or 30. Sorry, that's a plus sign. And on the left side, even though the 10's behind the parentheses, it still means distribute. So we have 10r minus 10. Big key here, get the r's on the same side. I'm going to subtract 5r. Now it's just simplify and solve. So 5r minus 10 equals 30. Add 10 to both sides. 5r equals 40. So to divide r, to get it by itself, r, not x, equals 8. Okay guys, your homework's ready for you. Have a good rest of your day.